Hello everyone. Today I wanted to do something slightly different. Today I'm gonna show off my game room slash bedroom. But of course it's a bedroom. I'm not old enough to move away from my parents' house. Yeah, let's get moving. And in case you were wondering, no, I don't have all 3 TVs and 3 consoles on at the same time normally. This is just for the tour to make it more interesting. I think I'll start right here. This is right by the entrance to the room, where I have framed this old Sega poster that came with an old Master System game. And below that is one of these things which holds DVD cases. I've sorted them by generation, and this is the 8th generation stuff. I don't have anything from the 9th generation. So that is PS4. And Wii U. I don't have a lot of Wii U stuff as it tends to be a bit expensive and hard to find. Then we go over here to the side where we see a lot of boxes for various games that I have. And here there's this old PlayStation. I think it's a rental bag or something. Inside here I keep stuff like this. A case for a Switch and DS chargers and all sorts of stuff. This is a PSP charger. Stuff like that. Anyway. We just had the 8th generation, so here goes the 7th with the PS3. This is my old PS3 with a broken Blu-ray drive, sadly. It would very rarely boot up any games, so I got a replacement which is currently hooked up. PS3 continues over here into Xbox 360, which I don't have a lot of. But I do have a lot of Wii stuff, which is above. You can pause and read all of the games that I have if you want. And this box right here, that is Wii Play, but it doesn't say on the side. Before that, it was the 6th generation, which is probably my favorite ever. Especially the PS2. I have a truckload of PS2 games. I've actually sorted all my PlayStation games from all of the PlayStation consoles in a very specific way. You see that number right there, that indicates it was released, so if you were to sort them by that number, you'd have them sorted by release date. The last PlayStation 2 game I have is this game. It's a bit expensive nowadays. Jak and Daxter: The Lost Frontier. That's why it's also in a box protector. PS2 just continues. Again, you can pause if you want. Up here too. And here it just continues a lot. And then we have the original Xbox and GameCube, which are here. Again, pause if you want. There's also these 2 big box games, which are here because they didn't fit anywhere else. Before I move on, below all of this, the spot where I take pictures when I sell stuff. I have some lights above and below, and it makes some really good pictures when your camera actually wants to focus. There. The lights above can actually change color using this remote, but usually they're just on white. Below this is even more stuff. There's all my PC games that I rarely play. And to the side here is some old game magazines. This is Sega Power, Mega Power, and Danish PlayStation magazine, along with some Game Boy and GameCube books. Moving on is my Mega Drive / Genesis Mini and the Super Nintendo and NES Mini. They are not used very much, but that's where I store them. Below that is not anything game related, except these, which I almost forgot about. Those are the magazines that I have not read, but once they're read, they go down here. I put them in a bag to protect them. This thing, if you're wondering, is an old Pong console, which I bought. Turns out it did work, but I used a wrong power supply and it broke. I'm an idiot. Anyway, this needs to get fixed, and this is just here temporarily. Let's go back. The 6th generation with the PS2, GameCube and Xbox. Around the time the 6th generation was popular was also when DVDs started becoming popular. Which is why I've put my collection of Simpsons seasons next to the PS2 stuff. Also a Master System because I had nowhere else to put it. In between the Simpsons and the GameCube and Xbox we have all my 5th generation stuff. Not as much. Again, there's PlayStation 1 games sorted by release date. These also have that number on them. Then we have my N64 games. Again, not a lot. I found out that using box protectors for N64 games, you can make these really cool miniature boxes, which is better than having labels on them, in my opinion. Also, that thing is a modern N64 controller. That's just the only place it really fits. If you're wondering, everything that's above this shelf is just whatever stuff. Like that black box is full of cables. Everything over here is stuff that I have for sale that I'll just tuck away up there. Then we get to this section, which I really like. This is my 4th and 3rd generation things. So that is Sega Master System and Mega Drive / Genesis and the NES and Super NES. I recently upgraded to this, a boxed Scandinavian NES. Before I had a Dutch one, so I'd rather have the boxed Scandinavian one as I live in Scandinavia. Also have some boxed NES games. I am waiting for box protectors for these, don't worry. Right now 2 of them are in Super Nintendo / N64 box protectors, and this one is actually for a Game Boy game. Better protect them a little bit while I wait at least. Also have a complete Game Genie for both the NES and the Mega Drive / Genesis. I don't keep my NES games in the box. They are over here. I have more loose games, as you can see, than boxed. But between those are all except 2 of my Master System games. Where I lived, the Master System was actually more popular than the NES, which is why I have many more of them than NES games. And then I have 2 loose Master System games. There's Sonic 2 and Batman Returns. Above here we have the 16-bit ones. We have some Super Nintendo games from Europe, Japan and North America. My Super Nintendo is not modded to play those, but I have an adapter right there that lets me do it. Then there's loose Mega Drive games / Genesis, and then the boxed stuff, which is mostly Mega Drive / Genesis, and then a single Super Nintendo game, which happens to be my favorite Super Nintendo game of all time, so that's great to have. There's also a boxed Mega Drive 2 / Genesis 2, and of course that NES that I talked about. And down here are the mini consoles for the NES, Super NES and Mega Drive / Genesis. As we continue down here we see this thing. In here I keep controllers for various systems and have stickers on the side to tell me what is in there. And on the side I have stuff that I usually read before bed, one of which being this old Sega magazine, which is the only reason I even talk about it. Here we have more stuff that I'm supposed to put up for sale but haven't done yet. There's some boxed NES games. Once I get the box protectors for those, I'm gonna sell them. This was the old Dutch NES that for some reason ended up here in Denmark. And now for the most exciting part. This right here is where I play most of my games, on these 2 TVs. I have lots of consoles hooked up here, but sometimes I have to go behind and change out some cables because that's simply too much for these 2 TVs. I'll start over here. On top here I have a little plug and play console with a few NES games on it, along with all of these old Donald Duck comics. I don't collect them, but they're really easy gifts from my grandparents, so I get them like every Christmas and birthday, and I have a lot of them over here. Anyway, that's not really relevant. There's this thing. Here there is some of my backlog along with another Sega poster in the back, which is kind of hard to see. Down here is a 3rd one, along with where I store batteries when I don't use them. I put them on this replaceable cardboard thing, so if they leak I can just replace the whole thing. To the side here we have 2 PS2 Guitar Hero things. That's Legends of Rock and Aerosmith. And down I have this shelf full of cardboard old computers that I made once and don't really care for anymore, but also I don't want to throw them out. Here we have the Lego that is used for Lego Dimensions, which I have for the Xbox 360. Here we have random parts for that Scandinavian NES that I talked about. Currently it is completely torn apart, so I can clean it. Then down here is where I store my Oculus Quest 2. I've always wanted a VR headset and got this close to a year ago, and it's been really fun. Then we have my PS4, Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, 1 and 2. And all the way behind there we have an original Xbox. Something had to go on that terrible spot behind the TV. Then we have my two Sega systems, Master System 2 and Mega Drive 2. If you remember, I had another one of these. This is because the one you're seeing right now has Sonic the Hedgehog built in. This one was the one with Alex Kidd in Miracle World built in. I swapped those out because it's cheaper to have two Master Systems than it is to buy Alex Kidd in Miracle World. And the reason I don't sell my Sonic thing here and buy a physical copy is because I haven't come across one yet. And also my dad used to have a Master System 2 with Sonic built in, which he threw out some time ago, sadly. So that's why I keep the Sonic one too. Here is supposed to be that Scandinavian NES once it's done drying and I put it back together. Here we have my Super Nintendo, and I'm lucky enough to have a one-chip model which yellows much slower. As you can see, it's still very light gray instead of yellow. But still, just in case, I have made this thing which I put over it when I don't use it. This is my N64. It's my second one because the first one would shut off randomly, so I got a second one currently running Pokemon Stadium, which you see right here. And the Super Nintendo is running that game, which you'll see in a moment. Here is my Switch, which currently plays Mario Kart 8, just to have something on the screen. And next to that is some of my handheld games. Now here is my backlog, a lot of it. Yeah, this is the stuff that has waited the longest to be played after being bought. And the more recent purchases are over here. Yeah, this was some of the handheld games. The Sony stuff and the Switch stuff. That is why it wasn't over here at the 8th generation stuff, because I consider it better to be here at the handheld section. Now over here is an area that I've made specifically for handhelds because I never play them otherwise. Here we have this thing which I can take in and out, which has a lot of old Nintendo handhelds, everything from the original Game Boy to the 3DS, along with all of my Game Boy games and a single loose PSP UMD. Then to the sides here we have 3DS and normal DS games, along with a single boxed GBA game. That's Egomania. You can't see it from here, but that's Egomania. Above here we have two LCD games, one of which being significantly better than the other. You take a guess which is which. And here is my two Sony handhelds. That's a PSP 3000 model and that is a Vita first model. And before I end this video, which I'm about to do, I completely forgot something. This is the next day, and this right here under the TV is an early 90s video switcher, which also works as a video editor. So you can like fade out and choose a different input while it's in a black screen, and you can change brightness and contrast and all sorts of stuff. There's also my two Wii consoles. That's because I can't fit all of my save games on a single one of them. That's also what I use to play my GameCube games, as they are both backwards compatible. Yeah, that is about it. I hope you enjoyed. See you next time.